Hello, my name is Anonymous. I'm a storyteller from a storytelling collective. We believe that stories have the power to change the world. So we spend our days writing and recording stories like this one that you can watch for free on our channel. This is the story of a little girl who was given an antique toy box for her birthday. It was beautifully crafted from mahogany wood and inlaid with mother of pearl. But what made it extra special was the brass plate on the front which read, "Open me and I shall tell you a tale." And so the little girl did. The moment she lifted the lid, a rich, warm voice echoed around her. "Welcome, little one," the voice boomed. "I am the keeper of tales and the teller of dreams, and now I am yours. What is your name, little one?" "I am Alara," the little girl stammered. She couldn't believe that the toy box could talk. "Alara," the box repeated. "A beautiful name for a beautiful child. Now step closer so I can show you my treasures." As Alara leaned in, the toys inside the box began to move. They waved their arms and legs and shouted, "Hello, Alara." So she carefully placed each one back into the box and closed the lid, and as she did, the voice boomed once again. "Thank you for playing with me today, Alara. Now I must tell you a tale." Alara nodded, eager to hear a story from the magical box, and so the toy master began. "Once upon a time, just beyond the whispering willows and deep in the sunken meadow, there lived a little wooden puppet. He wasn't like the other puppets, though, for he had no strings. And he dreamed of one day becoming a real boy. Every night as the moon climbed high in the sky, the papa would gaze up at the stars and whisper, 'Oh, to be a real boy, to feel the sun on my face and the wind in my hair, to run and jump and play without any strings to hold me back.'" The puffer sighed, his wooden chest aching with longing. One day, the puffer met an old wise owl who had seen many things in her long life. "Why do you sigh so sadly, little one?" she asked. The puffer poured out his heart to the owl, telling her of his desire to become a real boy. The owl listened patiently, and when the puffer was finished, she said, "Your wish is a noble one, but I'm afraid it's impossible. You are a puppet after all, and puppets cannot become real boys." The puffer's heart sank. But then the owl added, "But perhaps you already are a real boy. If you look around you, you'll see that you live in a world full of magic and wonder, a world where anything is possible if you only believe." The puffer thought about the owl's words as he continued his journey through the sunken meadow. Soon he came across a babbling brook and sat down on a nearby stone to rest his weary limbs. As he dipped his toes into the water, he heard a gentle voice. "Well, hello there. I haven't seen you around these parts before. Are you new to the meadow?" The puffer looked up to see a beautiful butterfly with wings the color of amethysts. "My name is Amethyst," the butterfly continued, fluttering closer. "And you are?" I'm the puffer, he stammered, but everyone calls me Stringless. Amethyst giggled. That's a funny name. Are you sure you're not a kite? Kites have no strings, you know. The puffer blushed, embarrassed. No, I'm not a kite. I'm a puppet, and I'm looking for someone who can help me become a real boy. Amethyst's smile faded, and she fluttered away before the puffer could ask her any questions. Just then, a family of field mice scurried past. Excuse me, the puffer called out. Could you help me find Amethyst, the butterfly? I need to speak with her again. Amethyst, one of the mice squeaked. She's at the wishing tree. Why do you want to see her? Because she might be able to help me become a real boy, the puffer said hopefully. The mice exchanged glances. I'm afraid Amethyst won't be able to help you, one of them said gently. She lost her wings in a storm last year and hasn't been the same since. She spends most of her time at the wishing tree, wishing she could fly again. The puffer's heart went out for the butterfly, and he hurried over to the wishing tree as fast as his wooden legs could carry him. When he arrived, he saw Amethyst sitting on a low branch, her wings wrapped tightly around her body. Amethyst, the puffer called softly, "May I sit with you?" The butterfly looked up, startled, and then nodded silently. The puffer sat down next to her and asked, "May I see your wings?" Amethyst hesitated, then slowly unwrapped her wings from around her body. They were beautiful, even if they were a bit tattered. "They're lovely," the puffer whispered awestruck. Amethyst sighed. "I used to be the fastest and most graceful butterfly in the meadow, but now I can barely flutter. I wish I could fly again. Why don't you use your wish on something else? Perhaps something a little more important than flying." The puffer suggested. "What do you mean?" Amethyst asked. "Well, you could wish to become a real girl." For some reason, she felt better already. Maybe becoming a real girl wasn't all that it was cracked up to be. Maybe she was happy being a butterfly after all. And that's when the puffer noticed something strange. Amethyst's wings were glowing with a soft light. "Amethyst, your wings, they're beautiful," the puffer whispered. Amethyst looked down at her wings in surprise. She had never glowed before. "It's the light from the moon," she said softly. "I think I am the moonstone butterfly." The puffer had never heard of a moonstone butterfly before, but it sounded magical. "The moonstone butterfly is a rare and beautiful creature," a voice suddenly boomed, "and I am honored to have one in my collection." The puffer and Amethyst turned to see a large beetle with shimmering wings approach them. "Who are you?" the puffer demanded. "I am the collector," the beetle replied, "and I collect rare and beautiful things, especially butterflies. You would look lovely in my collection, Amethyst." The collector lunged for Amethyst, but the puffer jumped in front of her and shouted, "Leave her alone." The collector laughed. "And what are you going to do about it, little puppet? You are nothing but wood and string." I am strong and powerful. You are no match for me." "We'll see about that," the puffer retorted. And with that, the puffer charged at the collector. To his surprise, he found that he could move much faster than the collector. He dodged and weaved just like a real boy. In fact, he felt like a real boy. "How is this possible?" the puffer gasped. "You let your belief in yourself guide you, little puppet," a voice echoed in his mind. "And in doing so, you have become a real boy." The puffer couldn't believe it. He was a real boy. He could feel the grass beneath his feet and the wind in his hair. He could even cry, and as he cried, he realized that he wasn't just a real boy, he was also loved, not by one person or two, but by everyone in the meadow. The puffer turned to face the collector, who was now cowering in fear. "Now get away from here," the puffer commanded. The collector didn't need to be told twice. He turned and fled, his shimmering wings beating furiously as he raced away. "You did it!" Stringless Amethyst cried, rushing over to him. "You became a real boy." To feel the sun on my face and the wind in my hair, to run and jump and play without any strings to hold me back. And the puffer knew that he was lucky to be a real boy, because not only could he feel the sun on his face and the wind in his hair, but he could also feel the love of his friends. And that, he knew, was the greatest magic of all. And that, dear listener, is the end of our story. I hope you enjoyed listening to it as much as I enjoyed telling it. Would you like to hear another story now? And with a flick of her magic wand, the king and his daughter were transformed into donkeys. Realizing that they had been tricked, the princess and her father set out on a quest to find the kind witch and undo the spell. Along their journey, they met a talking fox who helped them reach the witch's cottage. But when they arrived, they soon realized that the witch wasn't willing to help them unless they completed 3 tasks. The first task was to bring her a comb made of pure gold, but the princess and her father had no idea where to find such a comb. Just when they were about to give up, the talking fox returned and offered to help them. He led them to a nearby river where a golden comb was floating. The princess was so grateful to the fox for his help that she promised to give him the first thing she saw when she returned to the castle. Then they headed back to the witch's cottage to complete the second task, which was to bring her a ring made of pure silver. Again, the talking fox came to the rescue and led them to a nearby lake where a silver ring was floating. The princess was even more grateful for his help and promised to give him whatever he wanted. If he helped them with the third and final task, this time the fox led them to a nearby mountain where a crystal goblet made of pure platinum was floating. Finally, they returned to the witch's cottage and gave her the goblet. The witch was so pleased with their efforts that she agreed to help them. With a flick of her magic wand, the princess and her father were turned back into humans. The princess, who had learned a valuable lesson about the importance of treating others with kindness and respect, immediately went to apologize to the beggar, who was, of course, very happy to see her friend again. And so the princess and her sister lived happily ever after, both learning from their mistakes and striving to be the best versions of themselves. And that, dear listener, is the end of our story. I hope you enjoyed listening to it as much as I enjoyed telling it. If you liked this story, please leave us a thumbs up so we know to keep making more just like it. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss out on our latest adventures. Until next time, keep listening with your hearts.